Hello everyone, over here is the Mercedes G-Class, also famously known as the Mercedes G-Wagon. This Mercedes G-Class is a film star compared to its competitors like the Range Rover, the Bentley Bentayga and the Rolls-Royce Cullinan, and the reason being that it has always been starred in Hollywood movies. Hollywood just seems to love having a G-Wagon in their film. Singers love driving G-Wagons, footballers love G-Wagons, everybody loves G-Wagons, except me. Don't get me wrong. I love the G-Wagon, but just, it was never really my dream car. I could never really understand what was the buzz all about. Now, the Mercedes G-Class competes in the ultra luxury segment. So automatically it competes directly against the likes of the Range Rover, the Bentley Bentayga and the Rolls-Royce Cullinan. What makes the Mercedes G-Wagon a very special competitor in this regard is that it has been the most evolutionary model that hasn't really seen a drastic change in decades, everybody. It was born as a military vehicle and it expanded as an off-roader and a military vehicle, and eventually it saw civilian use as well. If you want me to be honest with you all, I'm not really a fan of those wheels on a G-Wagon or a G-Class, but I think if we're talking about it from a practical point of view, it actually suits the Mercedes brand a lot. It suits the G-Wagon in many ways. It's like combining the sportiness with the classy design. It reminds me of a hot rod. So what is a hot rod? A hot rod is where a car from the 1920s gets heavily modified with a hot engine inside and with the big wheels and everything. So this is the kind of the similar philosophy that was being employed with the G-Wagon, except it looks far better than a hot rod. Don't get me wrong. Now, you get those AMG exhausts on the side, down there. They look amazing. This is where Mercedes has an advantage over Range Rover, and especially the Jaguar Land Rover brand. Because whenever the Jaguar Land Rover brand tried to play it sporty, it just ends up being a bit strange. It's selective, it's very selective, right? But when the Germans, they played sporty, they really know how to play it sporty. They actually have all the right details there. Now, everybody, it's not all old school. The only thing that has evolved a lot would be those wing mirrors. They look very modernized. And last but not least, this Mercedes G-Wagon is actually a symbol of the Mercedes brand, and here's how. I said this before and I'm going to say it again. The Mercedes brand was born from trucks and limousines. They grew from anything that had a very big diesel engine, everybody. This Mercedes G-Wagon is living proof of Mercedes's expansion when it came to the automotive industry. They had the Mercedes Unimog, which was a true off-road truck, which was used by farmers mainly. And then they had the Mercedes Geländewagen. I think they call it the G-Class, but it was called Geländewagen, if I'm correct. Now just listen to how nice the door sounds. It is actual metal, but I have a feeling that the sound of the metal is very similar to the Mercedes Unimog. Now it is time to check out the interior of the Mercedes G-Class, or should I say G-Wagon. Okay, so the interior of the Mercedes G-Wagon is very interesting. The German competitors always had the advantage of technology over the ultra-luxury manufacturers like Rolls-Royce and Bentley. So it's very interesting how they've gone about it. The interior is very nice. It's very old school in this sense. It's really nice how they haven't gone down the route of complete simplicity. They still maintain physical buttons, a swivel wheel to control the infotainment system. Very nice for the Mercedes G-Wagon. The steering wheel seems perfectly aligned for some reason. Like there's something about the steering wheel that's great. Because in general, whenever Mercedes provides AMG steering wheel to their cars, it is horrible. They always have thick steering wheels that are like mountain bike tires. But for the G-Wagon, they did a brilliant job, actually. Like, I'm quite impressed. It's good. Yeah, everything is perfectly aligned. You get pallets, which you can reach from above, but you cannot reach from under. There's just something about sitting behind the wheel of the G-Wagon that's actually, it is good. Now, whether it commands respect or not, I really think it's selective. Because you see that proud bonnet, you really feel this sign of assurance, right? But when it comes to status, there's just something about the Rolls-Royce Cullinan that beats the G-Wagon when it comes to status. The Rolls-Royce Cullinan destroys all the ultra-luxury SUVs when it comes to status. But this G-Wagon certainly has the technology, and I can confirm. The Germans always have technology. Glove box right there. I like the material it's lined with. You get central console storage. Now, I'm under the suspicion that this whole area is a resemblance to the Mercedes S-Class and the Mercedes E-Class. I mean, it's really similar to these models. Really nice. Just one thing I actually noticed is that you do not get a single cup holder right here. Guys, there's literally no cup holder. Okay, I'm surprised. No cup holder. You get bottle holders in the corner, but where do I put my bottle if... Oh, it falls. Now, checking out the back seat of the Mercedes G-Class, everybody. Now, it should be noted that compared to the other ultra-luxury SUV in the segment, the G-Wagon was never really a chauffeur's car. It was mostly a driver-centric car. And this is evident with the narrow entrance at the back because Mercedes has played it evolutionary for the G-Wagon design. So to climb in the back, it can be a bit cramped, but it's something you have to get used to. It's not as easy as getting inside the Range Rover or the Rolls-Royce Cullinan or the Bentley Bentayga, especially when they have a long wheelbase. Now, well, that's interesting. The driver and the front passenger don't get cup holders, so how come the rear passengers get cup holders? Now, it is time to check out the boot space of the Mercedes G-Wagon, but one thing you should all know is that unlike its competitors, you do not get electric rear doors. You get those old school manual doors, and beware, the door is quite heavy thanks to the spare tire on the back. It's very good, but it's easy to open. You get the hydraulics and everything. See? Hydraulic struts. Now, because of the boxy design, you get a lot of space, especially from bottom to up. But I feel like compared to other competitors, you don't get much depth, everybody. But then that can be resolved if you fall down the rear seats. Although, in this segment, I highly doubt you'd care about having a lot of practicality solutions. Something about the rear design had me thinking of the off-road culture a bit. It has this off-road vibe to it, and this could be a reference to its origins, actually. It's quite nice. My opinion of the G-Wagon is that I love it. But I still have a lot of things to say in my conclusion about the Mercedes G-Wagon. There's absolutely no doubt that the Mercedes G-Wagon maintains a very rich identity, a rich design, something that is unmistakable for anything else on the road. It is something legendary that has just evolved through all those years. They still maintain the old school aspect, like door hinges, old school doors, that metallic sound every time you open and close the door. These are details I just love. This is the most Mercedes thing ever. But it's not all pink roses for the Mercedes G-Wagon, guys. It is of selective taste, because especially when you look at that segment of ultra luxury SUVs, you're looking at the likes of the BMW XM, the Range Rover, the Bentley Bentayga, and the Rolls-Royce Cullinan. And unfortunately, these guys just seem to offer more status and more coziness, more comfort. I felt more comfortable in these competitors. I think the big deal about the G-Wagon would be its design, and that's it. The interior, I failed to spot anything groundbreaking about it compared to the other competitors, because I had a chance to have a look at its competitors, almost each of them, and they seem to boast something. They seem one step ahead of the G-Wagon in something. Whereas I think the only advantage of the Mercedes G-Wagon would be technology. That's something the Germans excel at. They seem to have the best infotainment system and best technology, and especially reliability in that regard. But that's it. There's nothing really further in this. So don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and stay tuned for more videos that are on the run. I will see you all next time.